Hi, everybody. It's Mama Kay coming at you once again from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And my guest today is one of the kindest, most amazing human beings and band teachers I have ever gotten the honor and privilege to work with. Not only is she incredible with human beings of all ages, but also all of our friends in the animal kingdom. So without further ado, special guest, who are you?
Hi, Joanne. Thanks so much for doing this. I'm loving all the interviews. I've watched all of them. Um, and yeah, so I'm Cynthia Weevers. Let's see, I graduated from Fort Richmond Collegiate. Orv Anderson was my band teacher. I had Lisa Norris as my private trumpet teacher. Went to U of M, did a trumpet performance degree there with Richard Gillis and Rami Oren. Rami was on a sabbatical from the Israeli Phil, super lucky to have him as my teacher. And then I did an ed degree at U of M as well. It was an after ed degree. Did private studio, and that's kind of who I am. I teach now at Shaftesbury High School, and I've been there for the last 5 years.
So what has your journey been? Like, obviously you didn't just wake up and figure, oh, I'm going to be a band teacher, that this is going to be my lifelong career. Can we go way back and tell us the story from baby Cynthia? What was your musical journey to get you where you are today?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess for me, it was probably my initial inspiration probably came from my dad, who's actually a non-music professional. He always played guitar around the campfire. So so my most inspiring childhood experience was sitting around the campfire singing, the Itsy Bitsy Spider and a lot of the Beatles, and just the joy of playing music. And so that's probably my earliest inspiration. And then I went to and then I started band, and band was kind of something that everyone just did at the high school I was at. And so I joined, and then I realized in grade 12 that I couldn't be without it. And so I don't think I even realized before that I was going to do music, actually. And then I was so lucky to have a great private teacher in high school, Lisa Norris, and Lisa Byrne, I should say, and then also Orv Anderson. So and then it kind of just went from there. I love people, and so it was nice to be able to work with people some way in my life, and I love music, and I love what it does.
So would you say that your high school band teacher and your private teacher saw that in you and sort of maybe encouraged you to go down that path?
I feel like they did, yeah. And they were both so subtle in how they showed that I don't think either of them ever said, you must do music. But like you say, they encouraged me. So it was kind of even more inspiring, I guess, because they just tried to bring out the best in me, and tried to help me develop myself as far as I could go. And then I just felt like I wanted to do that for other people too. So
well, you obviously had excellent examples as to what great music education was looking like, right?
I did, yeah. And it's definitely something that I've kind of held on to in my teaching as well, and just reminding myself always just to teach the people.
So what was your first teaching job? Did you have, like, were you doing private instruction first, or did you go straight into teaching band? Was that your first experience?
Yeah, actually, it was really interesting because I did a little bit of EA work while I was doing my my undergrad performance degree. But actually, I was really lucky because Lisa Byrne actually sort of passed on her studio to me when she left to go to North Carolina. And so I had 33, I think it was, private students that I saw every week that were trumpet students. I was really lucky. So I learned really fast on how to teach, and my learning curve was intense. So.
And what was your first band job? What school were you at first?
Yeah, I guess that was kind of intense too. I student taught at Vincent Massey with Jackie Dawson. Super lucky to work with her and with Bill Christensen. Oh, like what a dream team to work with. I was like, I don't know how I got that lucky, but I did. And so Jackie ended up having her first child the year after I was student teaching with her. So I ended up getting the job at Massey and covering for Jackie for my first year. So it was a very intense first job. I learned really quickly.
Wow, I can't believe that was your first teaching experience. No pressure there at all.
I'll never forget my experience conducting the Hounds of Spring with all its changing meters. And it was like my first concert ever conducting. And it was like 3 weeks after me becoming a real um, public school teacher. I just kind of had to, I had to trust myself and look a lot more confident than I actually was.
Do you have video of that performance?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I have a video of that one actually.
That would be great to look back on and to actually see, did you look as poised, or more poised than you felt at that moment?
Oh, no kidding. Hey, maybe the kids were so afraid that I was gonna miss a meter change. They played better.
So then after that mat leave, where did you go?
So after that, I went to Shaftesbury High School and Laidlaw School. So I taught a little bit of junior high and high school in combination, and that was a really neat gig. And I really learned a lot from teaching middle school. Actually, it was a completely different learning curve, and I think I had to find um, the need for humility in teaching, and the fact that just the idea that um, not all kids are not all kids love music for the same reasons that we do, and just to kind of have an open mind about that, and why kids need music, um, and sort of to teach around that model instead of, I this is why I went into music, this is why I want you to like music. I just think that kind of paralyzed me a little bit at first, until I learned. Yeah, and then Shaftesbury High School, and then after that, I was lucky to take Cheryl Ferguson's maternity leave at Fort Richmond Collegiate. So, and that was my old alma mater as well. So I learned a lot because I got to teach alongside Orv Anderson, my old high school teacher. So he taught me a lot. So yeah.
So it's incredible to hear that you just had that little snippet of the middle years there, because watching you work with the kids at camp in the summer, you just know how to talk to them. You just know how to bring them in. You are so great at your craft.
Oh, thanks, Joanne. Um, you know, I I feel like sometimes, and this sounds very cliche, but I feel like sometimes I learn more from the kids than they learn from me. And as long as I'm doing that, then we're going to connect, you know? Um, and I just feel like they have so many interesting challenges that I will never understand. And so I don't know. It's the whole piece of starting from knowing that everyone wants to be good, I guess. And so it's been, I love learning from them. It's just so invigorating, actually. Yeah.
And so you did the mat leave for Cheryl, and then you taught with Orv, and then remind me where you went from there again.
Oh yeah, sorry. And then after that, I actually I did a 2-year master's program in wind band conducting with Dennis Glocky out at Penn State School of Music in Pennsylvania, and it was an amazing 2 years. The first part of it was so challenging because I really had to realize what I didn't know, and sort of once I captured that and felt like I could have the courage to learn, I felt like that's where my learning curve went up. Dennis was an amazing teacher. He's actually retiring this year from Penn State. We're going to miss him, but he studied with really amazing teachers themselves, Reynolds, etc. So his craft is just like, I could have studied with him for probably 20 years and not learned, still had more to learn, but that was great. And then after that, I ended up getting Jackie's second maternity leave. She had decided when she had her second kid, then I got to go back to Massey and teach there with Bill, which was, again, amazing. Learned every day from him. And then, yeah, and then I guess from there, I started taking mat leaves. It was my turn. So I kind of was in and out of mat leaves. I taught at Oak Park in the midst there. And then instead of going back to Oak Park, I actually ended up applying for the position at Shaftesbury. I just loved it so much the first time. I really connect with the community there. I just really thought it was a great opening. So I ended up getting the job there, and then I was in and out of one more mat leave there. So 3 mat leaves total in the mix. And now I'm there, and I love it.
It's great to hear you talk about your experience at Penn State, you said, right?
Yeah.
And how even as adults, we need to be, in order for us to really learn, we need to be in the places that are safe for us to fail. We need to feel that it's okay to make the mistakes without judgment, right? And it sounds like that's the experience you had there, right? That you were able to really succeed and to have those deeper conversations with yourself. It's like, yeah, I don't know this, but to be okay about showing that vulnerability.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I just finding that vulnerability, sitting with it, accepting it, finding, I don't know, for me is finding my skeletons in the closet, what were my deepest fears. I really discovered, I remember at one point, my deepest fear was not being good enough, just being failing at what I was doing or failing people. And it's amazing when you kind of dig down that deep, how you can come out stronger, I think. You become more confident, I think. And because in searching for all that, I think I found sort of, I guess I found sort of a deeper purpose. And so I realized, like, I'm in this for a very, I don't know, I think for a very meaningful reason. I like to be with people. I like to try and make a difference. I like to try and have music in people's lives. And so it just, I now kind of, instead of trying to, like, instead of being afraid of those fears, they kind of have gone away because I hang my hat on why I do this more, and I know it's kind of a long way of getting to it, but I think it is important to go to that hard place. I think we all have it, actually. I think it's somewhere in all of us, and it's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. It's just because of, how much we care and how much we love what we do and all that stuff. I just didn't want to fail anyone, and that was something I really had to learn. And I feel more confident, I think, now because I've been there.
Well, and to watch you, I know that you are confident in what you're doing, but there's a humility in what you're doing as well, right? You know what you're doing, but there's no arrogance about it. And so that's one of the things I admire about you most.
Thanks so much, Joanne.
So I'm going to go on a totally different place here now. And of course, remembering that it's a family show, as I always say as a disclaimer, what would one of the strangest gigs be that you've ever been involved in?
Whew. Okay. That's a tough, I like that you say it's a family show.
Of course, I have interviewed people that have been in rock bands and whatnot, so that there are maybe some not so family friendly tales that I don't want them to share. So I figure I'm just being safe.
That's right, exactly. Well, maybe something that some people don't know about me maybe is that I'm sort of my family wedding singer in a way. And, and it's like, I've sung anywhere from wind beneath my wings to, you name it. It's like so I think it's funny because it's, I don't know, it's fun to do. I really love doing it. But there's always, I tend to do sort of sometimes a tribute to someone in my family for their wedding. So, and it's kind of funny because you wouldn't, I guess, maybe see me in that position normally, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's all I've got.
I like it though. That's great. I think we're going to have to get some sort of karaoke machine going at the next camp you're at. So Cynthia, I have some students who watch these videos as well as some other students who have reached out to me that are maybe thinking about going into music as a career. Do you have any words of advice?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I feel like if you absolutely must do music, then do music. That's kind of my overarching sort of philosophy. But um, I also feel like if you love people as much as music, because I think those two worlds are really inseparable, in my opinion, then that's a place to be. If you if you feel like you have the patience, you're able to access, like we were talking about earlier, but with the vulnerability, you're able to access that vulnerability or humility. Um, you know, um, if you're able to not take kids' challenges personally, I think that's a really important thing. That takes time, though. I think that piece. And the other thing too is, I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is if they can imagine the reason they first came to love music and the reason they even maybe wanted to do music, and if they could imagine like hundreds of permutations of why someone might need music or love music in their lives, and then these are kind of their students. And if they can really accept and sort of be open to these many reasons why kids can come to love music, then I think that can make for great teaching. Because if we get kind of stuck in why only why we went into music or why we love music, I think it can kind of limit our teaching a little bit. Then we stop teaching the people, and we're teaching people to be like us, and I don't think that's I find that doesn't work for me as a goal. So yeah, so I just think that's kind of it. And if they want to do performance, just be sure that they can appreciate the transferable nature of performance, perhaps, and do it because they love to play, and that it might, there are obviously risks involved in performance, and it might mean that yeah, they'd have to be willing to have many avenues of options for performance. And some people, like for me, I did a performance degree, but I actually didn't really plan to ever perform for life. I'm not sure if maybe that you were in the same boat as me too. I just needed to do that performance degree. I needed to know that I could perform.
Yeah, that's exactly why I did it when I got my performance degree. It's like, this is my own goal for me. This is for nobody else. I need to do this for Joanne. This was a Joanne thing.
Yeah, I think that maybe comes back to just doing things for the right reasons, right? And it's like, yeah, and then it comes out, like, I mean, you're an amazing player, so it all came out for the right reasons, so, and then now it's coming on to your students. So yeah, I think that's kind of my advice for them going into music. I think they need to, if they absolutely must do music, then do it. It's a great life for sure.
With the best people.
Yes, and we're a family, so you get an extra massive family. Yeah.
So you sort of touched on what's bringing you joy is playing, and I know that you have been doing some great work during these crazy times, spreading music at 7:00 every single night, and maybe that's part of your answer to the next question that I have for you, but what sort of words of wisdom or advice do you have for people going through this strange time, as to maybe what are some of the things that you're doing to fuel yourself to keep going?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, lots of lots of breathing and yoga and all those great coping tools that I think are just tools to have on board. Yoga for me might mean running for somebody else, or might mean tennis for somebody else. But getting lots of fresh air, finding a purpose that it might mean you knitting your latest scarf, or it might mean being connected sort of to the greater world. Trying to use music as not only just a means of self-fulfillment, which is super important, but also trying maybe to reach a little further, thinking a little more worldly about it. How does it serve the world right now and today? And I think probably maybe my biggest piece that I've been finding helpful was just to be kind to yourself. I think embracing these changes and these sort of there are just tough days sometimes, I think, for everyone. But just being kind to yourself and knowing that you're doing your best, because I think we're all just trying to figure it out. And connect with the people you love, because that's so important. They get us through things. And just knowing your outlets and trusting the process, trusting trusting the people around you in life, and that they're like this is happening right now, and I wouldn't have had this opportunity to connect with you this way. And I have learned so much from your interviews. Just hearing everyone's perspective on this brings the world so much closer. And so, that's a huge worldly purpose, and just things like that. Kind of digging a little deeper, finding that vulnerability, that humility to dig deeper, to find what purpose we could have right now. And that might be sitting on the couch knitting a scarf, and then it might extend a little bit further as well sometimes. So, or calling up grandma, that's worldly, So there it is. Wow, that was a
I think it's fantastic. And again, what you have helped to orchestrate in our city, between not only the trumpet community, but the band community. I think you were saying that there's a potential of, were you at 13 schools now that are involved in making music at 7 o'clock in support of our frontline workers?
Yeah, there's 17 as of today. We had 2 more.
17.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm so overwhelmed by it, but so happy at the same time that the message is really getting so directly to frontline workers. I've been getting emails from them, and just from even staff members who have husbands or wives who are out in the front lines, and they're saying that it's I'm glad to hear it's made a difference for them. So,
well, you are helping to wrap our band community's arms around those people and give them that virtual hug that we wish could be real. Right. So thank you for that so much. And just thank you for the time today, and for your encouragement of doing these videos. I really didn't know many people were watching them, or that they were making people happy. So I'm so happy that they're making you happy. They fill me up with joy, and I get uninterrupted time with people that I care about, with no distractions. Once we get our internet going, then we're good.
Took us a little while to get.
But thank you for who you are and what you do, and I wish I could spend more time in real time with you.
Oh, thank you, Joanne. You're amazing. I have super enjoyed this process, and I'm going to keep watching. I can't wait for the next one.
Thank you, Cynthia. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Thanks, Joanne.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.